who had to express himself on how he feels about law enforcement. This is not law enforcement, but immigration enforcement. This is an example of a squishy, I call him squishy, person who feels empathy, or he feels that the way Trump is enforcing our immigration laws is incorrect. So let's listen to what he has to say.
What's true until you come down here and you witness it for yourself. You know what I mean? I think that we all find that the hardship of people that were told they're allowed to come over here, and then all of a sudden are told that they have to go back home, which is very difficult. You know what I mean? And I was a Republican for so long. I voted for Trump.
So he's saying that because a previous administration said that people could come over here and they're allowed to be here, and then a second administration says that no, you got to go home. So that makes a hardship on the person that made the journey to come over here, then somehow that's legitimate. But the fact of the matter is, the immigration law has been on the books for years. Just because certain politicians aren't following this law doesn't mean that all of a sudden people can just break the law. Let's let him continue.
But then when you see people getting yanked off the street and then brought to a place like this, which whatever conditions they may be, or a judge came over and they looked at it, but then you have to do a 30-day review over it, and why they wouldn't shut it down is pretty atrocious, really, when you think about it. You know what I mean? Everybody has a right to travel. Everybody has a right to go to different countries. And if one administration says we're going to allow...
This isn't about travel. This isn't about visiting another country. This is about going to another country and taking up residence in that country with illegal entry. See, the whole argument is incorrect on this guy's part.
Allow you guys to come in and be a part of this country. We're going to give you money. We're going to do all these things. And then the next administration comes in and says, we're not going to allow you to do any of that. It's like the country's always divided. You know what I mean? It's like nobody ever came together and said, well, what about the people that are coming over here? You know what I mean? What about them? You know what I'm saying? What about their rights? Their rights to travel, their rights to come get a better life. And then
again, you have a right to travel to any country you want to if you have a passport or you have documentation that allows you to travel. I mean, this isn't isolated to the United States. This isn't a United States phenomenon. No, you are allowed to travel, yes. You are not allowed to become resident of another country unless you go through the process of that country. I don't understand this guy's argument, but we're going to keep listening to him.
Then to turn around and say we're just going to exit all that, we don't care. We don't care anymore. You know what I mean? The left and the right is a ridiculous notion and stuff like that. And unfortunately, if you vote left and then you go right, you know what I mean? All it does is causes strife in between people that are probably in the middle, that just want everybody to have an equal opportunity to live here. You know what I mean? And that's what you see right now and stuff like that. Because all those people in there, despite whether they say...
Again, you have the legal, or not legal, you have the opportunity to be in another country, specifically the United States, but you're supposed to go through the legal process. This is the breakdown. This is the breakdown on this argument, and I don't know. Let's just keep listening.
Illegal, but the only thing they did was they didn't really follow the previous administration's right to come over through the border, but the previous administration said it was okay for you to come over to the border. So what law did they break? They didn't break one. You know what I mean? So why all of a sudden...
They didn't break a law? What is he talking about? Just because one administration goes to another administration goes to another does not mean the law has changed. The only way for the law in the United States to change is simple civics. Congress. Congress has to change the law. If they don't change the law stays on the books, right? The judiciary, which is the Supreme Court or judges, have the ability to review the law to see if it is within the Constitution or within the parameters of the Constitution. But the law doesn't change unless Congress changes the law.
Now is the law that you did break, you know. if you're not coming out here to get a perspective, and you're either whether you're left or you're right, if you're not coming out here to get a perspective, you're not coming out here to see what people are trying to fight for, you're never really going to know, because everything you watch on the news, everything you see on the news is all either right or it's left. It's never in the middle. And what their goal is to divide us. The government's goal is to divide us and say that we shouldn't come together, because if we come together, we are very strong, and then we can go against the government. You know what I mean? The government's always going to be our enemy. You know what I mean? The people are the power. We're the power every day. And unfortunately, and stuff like that, when you see things like this,
The people are supposed to be the government. In our constitutional republic, which people keep calling us a democracy, but in our constitutional republic, the Constitution basically lays out what the government cannot do. What the government cannot do, not what the government can do. This is the problem with our public education, or actually any of our education, because we're not teaching this to people. The basic civics of the United States is not being taught, so people don't understand it. Not to mention how many people have not even read the Constitution, or even gone over the first, 5 amendments of the Constitution to understand what they mean. This is why people say these things that they say.
happening. Police people gathering right now, police people gathering to come over here and subdue, pursue, yank people off the streets that we pay for. Our taxes pay for all this. You know what I mean? It's not them. They don't pay for it. We pay for all their shit. You know what I mean? And it's just a ridiculous idea. It's a ridiculous notion to think that we don't have a voice.
I want you to walk me through your story a little bit, because you referenced being a Trump voter at one point in your life. When was that, and how do you go from Trump voter to someone who was out here protesting, really on the front lines?
Yeah, this is what I'm going to have to hear, how he switched from Trump to out here on the front lines in Chicago complaining about law enforcement, or immigration enforcement particularly.
Against what the Trump administration's marquee policy.
Well, it's very simple and stuff like that. When you see them recruiting the federal government when they say they need to protect a federal building, but going out onto the streets to yank people off the streets, it stops becoming about...
Okay, wait. What did he say? He said that the federal government, to protect a federal building, but then to send people out in the streets to yank people off the street. No, that is not the purpose of ICE. ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement. Their purpose is to affect the immigration laws of the United States. That is their primary function. They're not supposed to protect the building. They're supposed to go out on the street. If a person has a order of deportation, they're supposed to pick them up. If they don't have an order of deportation, but they are suspected of being into the country illegally, they're supposed to bring them to the detention center so that they can meet in front of an immigration judge. This is not rocket science.
The people and becoming about authoritism. You know what I mean? We're like, okay, these people right here are our enemy. We're labeling them as our enemy, but they haven't really done anything wrong, but other than crossing a border that we made up. This is the invisible border right here. You know what I mean? None of us own it. You know what I mean? Everybody here is an immigrant. You know what I mean? It's not like it's set in stone and stuff like.
Again, every country in the world has a border. If you're not a country, if you don't have a border, you're not a country, right? If you just let people free flow into your country, and then you just let them take up residence in your country without any moderation or vetting of the people coming, that you're doomed for disaster. I don't know where this guy gets his notions from, but
that you can't travel around the world just because one nation owns it. It's a ridiculous notion. You know what I mean? It's a ridiculous notion to say I can't try to do a better life. The laws that America has set is unrealistic, and they've had so many years to change it, both sides, left and right, to say that we're going to give other people a better chance to come over here to America, which is the greatest country in the world. We're going to give them an opportunity, and then ruin their opportunity to do so. All these people over here because Biden said they'd come over. Now all of a sudden Trump says they can't be here. If they were going to come together for the American people, they would say,
No, the law has never changed. The law, under any president, the law has never changed. It's been the same. Congress hasn't changed the law. It's not Trump making it illegal or legal or whatever. The law has always been that you need to cross into the United States legally, and you need to go through the process to become a naturalized citizen, or you come over on a visa to work or whatever for reason, a visitor's visa. But you still, if you want to become a resident, you have to go through the process. That has not changed. Because it's hard, or because it costs a lot of money to do this, is not the concern of the people of the United States. The citizens of the country are supposed to be first.
hey, don't reward somebody that was involved in Epstein, no matter what year it was or when he was elected, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? The guy was already known to be a child predator. You know what I mean? It was known. It was well known. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the whole entire Hollywood society, everybody knew it. You know what I mean? And then also to have the same thing where you're like, with what Biden is that we're not going to do anything on it. They had the Epstein files for a very long time. They never released them. You know what I mean? That was all sitting inside Biden's department, Biden's DOJ, and they come up with the next fanatical thing to keep on putting onto the American people to say, hey, look at this. Don't look at this. It's both sides. Both sides do it. And that's what's atrocious about it. Of course, well, you see all these people out here, everybody that I've talked to out here and everything like that, none of them are left or none of them are right. You know what I mean? All of them equally believe in human rights. Human rights has nothing to do with the left or right. It's just human rights. You know what I mean? I love everybody here, and I think that I support everything that they're doing because that they're out here, they're preaching their voice, they're preaching the way that they feel that things need to be happening inside of America. Each one of them have the right to do it. Nobody deserves to be oppressed. We don't deserve to see, if you point your camera right there, you see all that right there? See all that police shit right there and everything like that? That's escalation. That's called escalation. And we have every right to be here. We paid for this. We paid for the streets. We paid for the sidewalks. We paid for the grass. Everything they have, we've paid for. You know what I mean? So we have a right to be here. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate the time.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate the time.
All right, that was interesting to listen to. Again, you don't have a right to go to another country. Okay, wait. You can travel to another country. That's fine with a passport or a documentation. You can do that with any country. You cannot take up residence in another country without following the guidelines of their country. Whatever it requires to become a citizen, you have to go through those steps to become a citizen of that country. It doesn't matter what country it is. And the United States is not different than any other country. Also, our immigration laws have been in effect for a long time. The only reason they have not changed from president to president. It's just been, how does a president enforce it? And there shouldn't be a delineation between the presidents on how they enforce it. It should be enforced with every president. And because we allow this to happen year after year after year after year, it becomes like it's a right that they can do this, and that the American citizen has no way to fight this if they don't like this happening in our country. So I'm trying to understand how I understand empathy and I understand caring about a human being, but because a human being breaks a law and you want to enforce your law, I don't think empathy means that they can do that. So I think people who come here illegally need to go home. They can go home and then they can start the process to come here legally. And that's basically what Trump has said. That's what the DHS and what ICE, or actually DHS, has said, that if you go home voluntarily, you're able to come back to this country. If you don't, and they have to go out and get you and then take you through the process, then no, you won't be able to come back. Just that simple. Thanks for hanging out in my stream, and I will check you on the next one.